Assalamu alaikum guys. Today we want to discuss about car main ECU, and this is the first video on YouTube. This is a technical video that we want to help the people to learn the knowledge of cars, vehicles. So this is the main ECU and the car which run the engine smoothly and some other thing, but this thing can be called by many names. Some call ECU, some call PCM, and some call ECM. But now let me discuss what is ECM. ECM mean that electronic control module. ECU is mean electronic control unit. So it can be many electronic control modules in the car, not only this ones. Like for example, I will show some another one that we have this one. This one is a gateway for the Volkswagen, but normally also people call that ECM, but they just add a name. Like for example, gateway ECM or whatever. Why? Because this is also electronic control module. I will show you another one, which is this one. This is amplifier for the AC. This is also can be called electronic control module. But if we talk about specific the main one, then we say that the main ECU we add this ones. But what is the difference between ECU and PCM? PCM is a little difference from the ECU, and normally if we call ECU main ECU, on that time we say that engine control module, which is this one. This is engine control module. So PCM and ECM is little difference, not much, but let me explain this one, that ECU is only allow the car engine to run smoothly, but PCM is little different than ECM because that one also allow the transmissions and some other small module to run smoothly. So what is ECU? Now what is ECU, ECM, PCM? Now ECU, ECM and PCM. ECU means electronic control unit, but this can be many as before I explain. But in the car, instead of electronic, we say that engine control module. Okay, and ECM, which is the same one, doesn't have difference or unit. ECM means electronic control module. But if we talk about the main ECM, instead of electronic, we say that engine control module. And PCM is for the engines, transmissions, and something else. What is PCM? PCM means power train control module. So PCM is little different than the ECM or ECU. Now PCM is the brain of the vehicle. Sorry, vehicle that manage engines, engine, transmission, and some other systems that works based on information receives from various sensors around the vehicle to allow the engine, transmission, transmissions, and some other module to run smoothly. So normally PCM can be controlled also transmission and also some other module like EBS. They also have link with the EBS and some other link, for example immobilizer or these things. Like the newer car come, they doesn't have separate immobilizer chip. They have inside in the PCM or some people call ECU. But normally I tell the difference is this, that the ECU or ECM only control the engine. So now we say that how the PCM can be run. Like for example, the internal port of ECM, how can be run. So the internal port of ECM or ECU need two positive voltage, which is 12 volt, and negative voltage to allow the internal parts of ECU to wake up and run your engine smoothly. Now I will show the wiring diagram, but let me tell you that we talk about here that the various sensor and they work on base of that. So for example, we have this sensor. This is mass airflow sensor. This mass airflow sensor, they receive the signals from this one to give the fuel to the injector on based of the ratio of this one, or either the map sensor or either the O2 sensor. Okay, one, for example, the main sensor is this two. This is the input signal of the ECM. If for example this two sensor is not available and this one, the car will not start, the car will not run, because this is the sensor that they get all the information for the engine to become run. This is called crank sensor. Once they receive the signal from the crank sensor, then they allow the fuel injectors to pulse to give the fuel. And also this is the cam sensor. This sensor also used for the coil and to receive the signal. So this is the main input sensor for the PCM to run the engine smoothly. This is another sensor which is a fuel pressure sensor. Some people call it uh, solenoid or something, because it's working based on the mechanical efforts, not electrically part, but they have inside something. They give the pressure, and based on the pressure they allow the signal to go to the engine computer or the cluster meter to close the light that they have enough pressure. So this one also called sensor. And for main thing, we have this one. This is the fuel pressure regulator. This one also the input signal for the ECM. They have many, but we just explain the few that you understand. And now how run the internal part. Now I will remove this one and then I will draw the structure of that one. Idris. For example, internal ports, like for example internal ports is resistors, transistors, uh, IC, diode, crystal, polarized capacitor, non-polarized capacitor. They have almost from 9 to 12 total parts, but they have many. Like for example, a lot of transistor use, a lot of resistor use, a lot of diode use. So for the internal IC, that how the ECU runs. Now I want to draw the diagram. For example, this one is PCM or ECU. Okay, if you look at here, they have a lot of wires, a lot of, but you have the main wires which is 4 or 3. For example, you have 1 2 3, 2 12 volt, 2 wire is 12 volt, 1 wire or 2 wire is negative 12 volt, this one positive 12 volt. but the rest is their signal wise that they receive the informations and give the informations to the engine. So this is your ECU, and this is your car battery. This one is positive and this one is negative. From here to here, this all whiteboard is your car. This all whiteboard is considered that is the car. So this one has come here, okay, and the whole car has become 12 volt negative. Now 12 volt supply, for example, this is my 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so now look at here, my negative 12 volt coming here. This is my negative 12 volt to the ECM or PCM. Okay, I'll do that you can understand on the better way. 12 volt. Now this 2 is remaining is 12 volt positive. Okay, now my 12 volt positive goes here. For example, here is the fuse, and after the fuse is come here. This is the direction of the flow which I mark. This one positive 12 volt and this one is negative 12 volt. Now the ECU receives negatives, it receives positive, but this positive is always be on if the car is closed or the car is not closed, but this wire always be 12 volt. Now this is remaining. Now this is also 12 volt positive 12 volt, but this positive 12 volt, once you go to the car on your ignition switch, for example this is your ignition switch, once you on the ignition switch to the on position or to the start position, what happen, the 12 volt current come to here. Okay, and what happen once come here, they allow the ECM to start work and run internal all parts, for example IC diode, whatever is inside they want to run. So this one is remaining, but there is two type is coming. One type is this one, and they need the main relay. So this is the main relay which I will tell 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look at here that this one, for example this 12 volt, this one is 86, 85, 30, 87. This is the output, the 12 volt for this one. Okay, this one is direct 12 volt coming from this wire. Okay, now my ignition switch, which is this one I talk about when I on the key, for example, this is my ignition switch. For example, this is my key. So what happened, for example, let's go to the ignition switch like this. So when I switch on, then the 12 volt current goes to here. Now this one need the negative voltage to start the relay to come the current here. So some of the car doesn't have this thing, this negative wire, because some of the car, the negative for this relay, the negative voltages come from the ECU. For some car, not for the all car, for some car, this negative voltage for this relay, this is I will write here, negative 12 volt, come from the ECU. Once the ECU, this wire come here, then they allow the negative voltage to come here. Okay, now for example, once you on the ignition switch, so what happened, your current 12 volt coming here positive, this is positive 12 volt. Now my first wire is this one, this is always on, here is the fuse. Okay, is always on. Once this one is come here, then they allow the negative voltage to come to my relay. One thing. The second thing, that when I start the car, I switch on, my 12 volt come to the relay, and on this relay on by this wire and this negative wire. So when the negative wire voltage is okay and I on the switch, then come 85 here, so then they allow 87. This is 12 volt, positive 12 volt. Okay, so when they allow the positive 12 volts, so on my total ECU on, what happened, my total ECU is on and ready for the car to run. Now if for example your car not start, or your car dashboard is blinking and cannot start, or have for example they give the code for the computer that your computer is problem, normally P0606 I think is the code for the computer. So what you do, you take your multimeter and from here to here the probe, check 12 volt, your negative probe of multimeter put here on the battery side, and the positive side put here, and check your 12 volt same as the battery voltage. If for example is okay, doesn't have problem, then come to the next step. The next step is what, bring your multimeter and put the positive probe to the battery positive, and put the negative probe to the relay 85, either here or either here. But this is the best place to put here. Put here, remove the relay, put here. If for example here your 12 volt negative is coming, so you clear that my 12 volt negative is also available to start my relay. Number third, on your ignitions, take your multimeter negative probe, put here, and check your positive voltage here. If for example here not available, on this one, if not available, sorry, not this one, this one, okay, this one, this wire, if not available here, this one is your negative wire. This is your positive. If, for example, not available here, the 12 volt positive, the second one. So come to the relay and check your relay here. If, for example, here available and here not available, so your relay is might be problem. So you changed another relay. If, for example, not, then you connect from here to here, direct probe. Like for example, you give here the wire, connect the wire here to here and check that your 12 volt coming here or no. If, for example, not here, coming here, not here, then this wire is your problem. So you check your this wire. If, for example, here also 12 volt available, here also 12 volt available, positive and negative also available, then it might be your ECM or PCM internal problem. So you can go further for this. Okay, this is the thing. Now, if I did any mistake on the English speaking or for example in writing, so I apologize for that one, and inshallah we will make next video for the problem, whatever is the car problem coming to our garage. Inshallah we will continue the video to help the people and to learn them further from us, inshallah. So this is the first small video, which is nothing. Inshallah the next video is coming, we will come back. Thank you so much.